parson proud. He'll say, I am married, this ain't no man, but you can do the job with your pound. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. Oh, that's very good. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas. Give it up for the band. In the meadow we can build a snowman. We'll pretend that he is Parson Brown. We'll say I am married, we'll say no man, but you can do the job with your town.
Later on, conspire as we dream by the fire. Face unafraid, the plans of the day, walking in a winter wonderland.
Walking in a winter wonderland.
Walking in a winter wonderland.
Thank you guys. Merry Christmas.
Through the London Eye. It looks really nice from this vantage point. It's one of the most famous pictures you can get in the city. So it's quite a nice one. It's a shame that we have two hideous buildings on either side, but it is rather nice to look at. As we go over Waterloo Bridge, if you look to your right, this has been voted, the National Theatre has been voted the ugliest building in the world, in the UK, for several years in a row. Normally I have a minute to get myself settled, so I'm misspeaking right now. But this is actually the blueprint for rebuilding London after World War II. So we thank goodness that London was rebuilt in its image, because this tour would be a lot less exciting than it's going to be tonight. As we go over Waterloo Bridge, though, look to your left, look to your right. Okay, you get the city of Westminster to your left and the city of London to your right. This is a great photo opportunity. To the right-hand side, we have the city of London, founded in 2015 by the Romans called Londinium. At its heart, St. Paul's Cathedral. The city of London is 1 square mile, completely independent from the rest of the greater city of London, has its own Lord Mayor. It's the smallest city in England, though. Only there's 8,500 people live in it, but 500 million people travel into every single day of work. $3 trillion filter through its center every single day. It's the only trading capital that's open at the same time as the North American and Asian markets. It generates 24% of the UK's annual wealth. That's how important that 1 square mile is to the country. To your left, you have the city of Westminster, only built 1,000 years ago by Romans and rich people alike. And the reason why the Romans built there is because around Parliament, there used to be kind of a river. It was the actual house belonging to King James the First, who reigned for 52 years in 1603. If you'd like to go to a wonderful Christmas market inside Somerset House, there's an open quad in there. They have an ice skating rink, they have food stalls, and you're generally shielded from the wind on a really cold day. So go into Somerset House. It's absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful Christmas markets in the whole city. Now, as we go left here onto the Strand, I did climb on the brakes rather hard. I'm 26 years old now. I have back problems. I always need to tell it. Oops. I went into the back of one of the buses. Now, look at these lights. Aren't they wonderful? There's over 200,000 bulbs along the Strand. They're called the fairies or the pixies of Christmas. And they pay tribute to the Savoy Hotel coming up here on the left-hand side, because the Savoy Hotel and the Savoy Theatre was the first publicly lit building in the world in 1882, and they used fairy lights to decorate their theatre, so that's why we have fairies above the Strand. It's here just in the gap as we go past. Look to your left. It's quite good. Now the theatre itself is playing Paddington Bear the musical this year, and I read in the news, look at the Santa. I wonder what famous thing is going on there tonight. The reason why they drive on the right-hand side of the road is because the buses had to turn in there at one point, but it's just because all the rich people had to set it in the Now the Strand itself, according to various European types, was the beach. And as for this area, was it used to be the Pacific market. Imagine the overtime swing holding all the way to the left-hand side of this road at one point in the time. The old London Bridge used to jam up the River Thames plant called the Charing Cross. Now, it's a Victorian replica of the original Charing Cross that was built on this spot in 1209 by King Edward I. He's the one who crosses up every 20 miles along the funeral procession of his wife, Queen Eleanor. There's only 3 left in existence, but during Victoria's time, they started to degrade a little bit with the industrial revolution and acid rain, so they had to build a new one to put in place. And we're entering Trafalgar Square. We'll be coming up soon on the right-hand side of the block. You'll get a sight of our fabulously tall 50-foot Norwegian Christmas tree. Now, it is rather underwhelmingly decorated, I must admit, and that's because it's Norwegian tradition to decorate their trees rather sparsely. I like to make the joke that it's the equivalent of getting a pair of socks from a very wealthy aunt. They could do a little bit better, but it's tradition, so they do it every single year. They've been setting this tree though every single year since 1947, because during World War II, we housed their royal family and members of their government here in London when their capital was occupied for a short period. So when the first didn't actually speak English, they had to teach him English to come to and George II had learned English as well. But they had to keep the monarch as a government wanted them to be. They couldn't keep his hands off, follow the Constitution, and preserve the individual rights of citizens. They didn't reign according to a divine right anymore, much like his predecessor. So George II especially developed a policy of wanting to develop a free market economy in London. So he oversaw the first trade markets open up in the city, the first experimental stock exchange. He wanted me to trade. We'll be turning right here and going up towards Piccadilly Circus. Now, there might be a Santa on the other side of the street, but I have to introduce you to him now, or else he looks really bad at night when we get by. If you see him, if he's on the other side of the street, I call him the South Pole Santa. Or if you ever see that Christmas Bad Santa, this is the original guy. He has no problem going down his street and smoking cigarettes for small children, and I've seen him hide his whiskey bottles in his jacket as well. When I call him the South Pole Santa, one thing he has to current middle finger. So he's a little bit naughty. I'm not sure who employs him or why he does it. It's a mystery, but he's here. Here he is. Maybe give him a wave as we pass by. I'm gonna put my back to him. He doesn't like me too much. He's just there at the other side of the street. Now, so here's Charles Dickens. That's how the show was focused for us. Then we have the national important figure in Christmas, and that is Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria started all the traditions that we know today. Decorating trees, Boxing Day, gifts on Christmas Eve, having turkeys, you name it. Christmas crackers, all of that. Christmas cards even. That was all Queen Victoria. Now by 1848, almost both Buckingham Palace smell really bad. So she's sitting in the tree to help make Buckingham Palace smell a little better. But you see, the decorating of a Christmas tree was a German tradition. The first Christmas trees were decorated in Germany by Martin Luther in the 1560s, so several hundred years before Queen Victoria. But she was the one who popularized it. She popularized it by sending out that first Christmas card. Who just do a big cover to your family hanging in front of with their children and all the presents. And within that year, all of Britain, the Empire, and the United States started decorating trees. Again, it was one of those overnight sensations. Everybody had to do it because the Americans picked up on the habit. When they got a copy of her Christmas card, they published it in the magazine. The ancient Albert cleared off, making Queen Victoria look a lot slimmer. So they then resonate more with the American people, and then the Americans started decorating trees as well. So it's pretty incredible. How because you're at the top of the hill and you have a perfect vantage point going all the way down back towards Pall Mall. You stand up for by almost. Get that nice photo, and when you come back, you take it really later on in the tour. We'll get another photo op of the experience of Christmas. Now, unfortunately, once the common man started decorating trees, it was very common for Victoria. You see, and I'd like to, you know what, we'll stop on the Christmas trees because there's lots to talk about. We're actually particularly circus now, so we get to reach area in London. You'll be happy in a moment if you come out to Regent Street, you'll see how many people are up here shopping, that you're on a bus and not on the pavement. I'll divert from Christmas Street to tell you a little about the area that we're in now. We're turning on to Regent Street. Now the lights themselves, I call them the angels of Christmas. Some people call them spirits, but it's Christmas, so I call them angels. These angels have been up for several years in a row because they're reusable, all carbon neutral, made of opposing materials. The bulbs themselves are 75% more energy efficient than a regular bulb. Now the lights along Regent Street first went up in 1950. They were then taken down in 1971 because Britain had a period of economic uncertainty. We were down to only working 3 days a week. Power was cut at night. There were strikes up and down the country, so the lights were deemed to be a little bit too frivolous. But you see, by 1978, one young man petitioned all the merchants along the street and his mother, the owner of the Crown Estate, back in the day, Prince Charles. And it's because of him that the lights are up to this day, because they're still privately funded by the Crown Estate, so thank you, and I think those were the lights displayed. Now, Regent Street itself, it doesn't look too busy now, but it will start getting busier. On Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, millions of people will descend into this area to get their Christmas shopping done. It's absolutely heaving. It's a good idea to maintain on a bus on Tuesday, because on the weekends, people will actually split out into the middle of the road and prevent the bus from moving. That's how bad the Christmas traffic gets. Now, all the stores along Regent Street and Oxford Street make 90% of their annual open hours in the months of November to December. That's how much shopping happens here. And many of the stores will kind of close anywhere between 8 and 10. In fact, many stores are legislated to do that. But they figured out if they stay open just a little bit longer to break the law, they'll make far more money than what the city of London could ever find them. So that's what they'll do. Now that we're stuck again, I'll go back to the Christmas trees. Now, the gunpowder themselves, the recipe wasn't quite right the first few years of the release. So you're like, let's ignore the tree. We're going to do the Christmas crackers to enjoy them dinner. We lose half the house, we lose half the house. So now you're pulling apart the Christmas crackers, all fine and dandy, and they have on fire. And this is the table on fire. A plutonium Christmas was a complete nightmare. Now, Tom Smith thought the idea of the way the French translator candy offers in wax paper as a form of one shape. And even when I wanted to on this, I should have poisoned it. Wasn't too exciting, but then with the introduction of gunpowder, it got much more exciting. She was like, fine, more frequently. It certainly didn't help with the Victorian trade there, strong attachers, and exciting store coming up on the right-hand side of the bus. Yeah, please. Then up in red, this is the world's oldest toy store, founded in 1760. It used to be called Noah's Ark back in the day. Generally, there are elves dancing in the doorway, after Christ to come in. If they make eye connection and meeting up there dancing, their Christmas spirit starts to run a little bit lower this time of year, because they've been dancing for days now. So if you're standing there and you're smiling, but they're not dancing, if they wait, they're not dancing. The parents themselves, this is a written toy factory, but they also say that everybody can shop. There's 5 stories of children's toys in there, and there's one whole floor dedicated to Harry Potter. So it's like you only get what you want, but I don't say this don't exist. Go there and you say you want to. You can't do it all the time. So at this intersection, there's actually lots to look at. Because when you yank from the window of the bridge to your right, to your left you have the lights made up from the crown. From the intersection in with Old Bond Street, but then you have the colorful lights on Carnaby Street as well. So it's kind of a nice, all kinds of stuff to look at. How do you feel good with the Carnaby Street? We'll stop our children's toy all in the 2nd of December. They'll sell 28 Lego sets every single second around the planet. That's how many Lego sets live in Scotland. So it's a much nicer way. I only spent £44 on a 6-foot tall tree. So it's quite a nice idea. You have the largest Apple store in Europe on your left-hand side. They're due to outsell Samsung for the first time in 12 years because they're launching of their new iPhone 17. That's the most steam-from store in the entire country. They'll check your bag. That's true. There's protesters going on the bus. Now we're capital. They're videoing me with their iPhone 17.
Every gift you purchase will change your life.
So on Christmas Day this year, 80 million iPhones are activated around the world on Christmas Day. So that is the estimated amount. Now, at this intersection, when it's left onto Oxford Street, I'd recommend getting your cameras out though, because this is a 360-degree view of Christmas lights, and the sound and lights will change at this turn. Directly in front of us, the building lit up in blue is the headquarters of the BBC. The BBC just got served their lawsuit by Donald Trump this morning for, I forget how much, but 2 counts of fine, something like that. It's all about fake news these days. We're turning left onto Oxford Street. Look at the style of view. Now I must say, take your photos and enjoy them. Don't take people behind you for your photo opportunity. And the reason I'm telling you this specifically is because right next year, our wonderful mayor of London has pedestrianized the street. So there'll be no buses allowed down here. There'll be no cars down here. And so we can't take anybody down here by next year. There's over 300,000 of these individual lights down the street, and at the base of each string, you'll find a star. There are 5,000 of these stars, and you'd like to sponsor one of them, you absolutely can. Follow the rest of your favorite text. I'm not going to do anything on this side. I got money moving that things to great goals and to go to the people to do. 2021 still on the new edition of students, or not even last 2 years. They're trying to market it to they want everybody to decide to do their shopping once again. Now I have to. Their windows are actually shaped out this year, but they're not something that exists now. So it's not really just the because the lights down there of Blue Launch are spectacular. It's the most expensive shopping center in the entire world. We have this is the corner here. But it's not really this is all this is part of their Christmas decorations. And you can see the course Disney, as you can see. And every single window is decorated according to a different Disney movie. So as you go past the window, you'll be trying to get all the way to see it. Already done. I just going shopping. I recommend walking down there if you have a chance. It's big on the little box. Well, some places can take extremely famous. And the second most famous about social media not choice. This is here that is all but it is one of the best things now, on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, they're busy as days. You'll see about 250,000 people in Florida. So it's absolutely mental. So if you wanted to go eat Selfishes, I recommend maybe going tomorrow after this when it's not too busy. Now, of course, I just come up with a single sentence back to her, and when I couldn't come up with it, wait about 5 seconds, her husband grabbed her arm and quickly hurried her along. I think John was a bit nervous. But you never know who you're running to at a place like that. Now, Canada is very well known for its Egyptian staircase. It's very, very famous. It's a great photo opportunity. But I recommend going as soon as possible because they'll be removed there. Buckingham Palace is the shape of a view. I'm going to show you some pictures. Still the balcony that we know is made. And there are two of the now you're getting in first to the Windsor Wonderland to the right-hand side of the bus, the largest Windsor market that we have here in London. It costs about $5 to get in if you're going to go. I go in the next few days to avoid it all costs on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday when 100,000 people are living on those days. It's absolutely mental. So I thought that you were the way we're rental. They look to us, if you're shopping for your husband, ask them more in London showroom. It's a great place to start with craft. Located there, you have the Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche, and Lotus dealership. Now the Windsor Wonderland. If you want your first morning to visit London, you're actually going to second morning it's extremely well services. A 6-inch granite mock-up will cost you $800. They have a nice skating rink there. They have a hotel experience. They have a beer tent. It is a great place to go, but I'll tell you something about the Windsor Wonderland. It is the days of my existence. And I'll tell you because at the end of everything, there's nobody who's doing it for the world. only get witness those life-size teddy bears and sizes that are about 5 to 6 feet tall. And then everybody has to get on the underground. Half the underground is filled with these funny teddy bears, taking up all the seats, taking up all the space. They have to increase the frequency of the Jubilee line, and I'll have to wait 5 or 6 minutes before I can get on one and come back over. It's really frustrating. Families have to take big stops to get to where I need to go. And cost $12,000. So this is where all the celebrities and rich people come. There's usually all kinds of nice people out here. And a few days ago, we held the award ceremony for all the cast of Avatar 2 here. So a lot of people got to see celebrities from their time to go to the hotel. Now on the other side of the Winter Wonderland, there's Kensington Palace. I highly recommend going. It's because everybody gets distracted this time of year with the Winter Wonderland. It's typically much easier to get at Kensington Palace. If you like history, you like state rooms, that's the home and office of the Prince and Princess of Wales and London. So why not just go and check that out over there? Now I forgot to mention to you all, again, we got moving so fast. I'm not a rookie guide, you might be able to tell that now. For weeks on London Buses. I used to be a private tour guide, so they held on to that man. Now what they'll do is you have to sign something called a life lease to live in this area, so they'll run anywhere between 99 and 400 years. They're very expensive, they'll run at about £40 million a contract. And in the contract, you paint the outside of your house every 5 years and you decorate the interior every 7. You can probably guess who owns the specific shade of paint that you have to paint the outside of your house. It's the Duke. You have to buy the paint from the Duke trademark. Now Hugh Grosvenor, he's 33 years old, the Duke of Westminster. He just got married last year, and he's worth £12 billion. So he's one of the wealthiest men in the city. Now people who live in these areas, J.K. Rowling has a house here. Sometimes we can go past her house. I usually get in trouble by pointing it out. I got a nasty email from her agency a few weeks ago. Helen Mirren has an apartment here, and Sean Connery has a house in Belgravia. So you never know who you're going to see in this area. Now, if you were to go through here, on the different buildings, you'll see a plaque that'll tell you who needs to live in the house, what they contribute to society, how long they've been to 6 years old, because his last one just couldn't take it. That's why his daughter Elizabeth conceived him at the age of 26, because the longest they want. So he was just or his office might have been full of who knows. Now at Hyde Park Corner, we'll be turning Alan. These security measures were added in the 1980s because there's a man named Michael Fagan who broke into the house not once but twice. And he told his mother, you see, he didn't have mental problems for Jordan either. So she had to detain him for half an hour to drive uncomfortable with her because all he's doing is complaining about market traffic policies that he disagreed with. And it was only once the maid discovered him, about a half an hour later, that he was found out. She got the police, they offered him a cup of tea to calm his nerves down, and he was arrested. Now, he was prosecuted under the Mental Health Act because he had some problems. But it didn't become a criminal offense to break into Buckingham Palace until 2006. That's how long it took the government to get their act implemented. So it's the most haunted part of London. Maybe if you're having a picnic, you can haunting yourself and you can pull a little Roman down to the full schools that are below. Now one last thing, the reason why we didn't take you past Buckingham Palace is not because we don't want to, it's because it remains against the law for double-decker bus hours on summer. But the Ritz Hotel is beautiful at Christmas, and I'd advise going for afternoon tea here. It's not too expensive, it's a full experience, and it's about the same compared to some of the other two. I must tell you that you have to dress nicely. They have a very strict dress code, for trousers, skirt, and their shoes. Don't forget that we are one thing. Now when the concierge did benefit, these are the first things that they were supposed to do. We had an idea who I am. And the concierge got this clear and said, I know exactly who you are, so just know where you are. You cannot permit you to dress like that, you must go back to the change that there is people. Make sure you dress nice. But here's the risk. If you don't look at the concierge, just walk over and bring this up. Come here. I recommend it because I reservation. It's extremely expensive. For an adult, it's £600 per plate. It's 8 courses though, but you don't even get a glass of real champagne. You have to upgrade the package for real champagne. If you'd like to save money though, ditch your partner and bring your kids, because a child's plate will only cost £345. And you know they're only going to order mac and cheese anyway, but they're the best mac and cheese they'll ever have in their entire life. Now as we make our way down Piccadilly, I'll introduce you to the Burlington Arcade now because generally we go past it pretty quickly. Now the Burlington Arcade was built up by Lord Liza Worthing, who started £100,000. And here's the Burlington Arcade. It's perfect that we're slow down. Just look at this. Isn't that lovely? So come back here. Come back to this area to the other side. Because lower bar is stunning street photos. You get all the most expensive brands in the dedication. Storefronts are beautiful. And then you can go up to the Burlington Arcade and do the food. But on the right hand side where it is small, you know, is the famous corner basins. And look, we're at a red light. How much better it will go to the corner basins, look at that. Every single one of the windows is decorated according to the effect numbers. So you can find window number, is it the 15th today? 16th. Is it the 16th? My goodness. There is number 16. Now corner basins, if you look at the color of the flag outside their car, or look at the color of the badge that people are wearing, they might look a lot like some very familiar posters. The color matches the advertising of the brand behind baked beans. And this is because this is the first place in the world we have behind baked beans. They also invented this stock of important innovation. Some of the famous oil grocers, you can see the new shiny personalized on either side of the door, right? Things personalized and the food personalized on the right. And if you look at the contrast, with bombs on either side, every hour, on the hour, Mr. Foreman, Mr. Mason, they still come out and do the they've been since the 18th century. Now, Foreman Masons was founded by Mr. Foreman, Mr. Mason, and they used to work for Queen Anne. What they would do is they'd take all the old candles and the chandeliers that could be used every day. They melt them to wax, and they put them on the candles. And then everybody had to buy candles and put them on up there. That's how they make their wood. The writers of James's Church, my favorite church in London, and built the Brighton Netflix series here on their weddings after the year. It's free of charge and it's designed by Christian American so it's designed by all the designers by but I'm going to look through because you have to think that every single night is a level of content. So I have symphonies, I have piano, musicians, every single night. And when the concert is second, it allows the whole people of London to come and they give you a music match, music bag, a hot. Now we're approaching Piccadilly Circus. We're making such good time tonight, I'm absolutely thrilled. Piccadilly Circus is the busiest area of London. No matter when you're around the world, you stand within 30 seconds to run into somebody from your past. Now Piccadilly Circus, it's named for a man named Mr. Baker who used to live in this area. And he used to design something called a Piccadilly. A Piccadilly were those very fancy collars that you use a piece of paper. We're not going to make this time anyway. Generally, if you got to see the food and the sections will get so big. So have your cameras ready and pointing towards the right. The first time when I put very local down to the way. And you can see how this house is holding on for 6 years. And it's cool with a piece of thing. With a modern interpretation of safety. So you can take these up there to so if you do the right thing there, all the things he's going to do now as we pass, I'm going they're going to want to write down this on today's picture, you can look at the you can get people up in the picture. But you seem to have it sold right there. So remember that. Down there they have 100 Now, I don't know what's going on with Thomas, but something different now. Something different. Oh, it's a concert. I was a bit nervous because that seems to have out anymore. But this one looks peaceful, so rather nice. There's lots of peace around, so that's good as well. Now, it's your founders said, it's that lovely. When there's not a concert held here, I do the basic tree every single night at 5:30 with Miss Carolyn as well. So this is a really nice concert to come to in the evening. Basically, Golden Kids is very great because the food is really reasonably priced. You don't have to pay extra fee, and the Christmas gifts are really nice. And as you're shopping, you come and have a seat on these stairs, and you'll see there where there's a basement too. So there's a really nice atmosphere. Now, you'll see here in Trafalgar Square, Admiral Nelson and Robinson Column. Look at them all the way up there. And the reason why that they're so high is because that was the height of the tallest mast who died on the Battle of Trafalgar. Now, he died by a bullet hole in the shoulder, Admiral Nelson, because they brought him back to Newbury by putting his body in a coffin right here. Now, it took 7 months to bring him back to London, and the captain's neglected to tell the story after his murder and also what happened. Those young sailors passed that task over the minute the contemplated the tide. It's really cool having this demonstration here with poor Admiral Nelson, poor pickled Admiral Nelson, they broke it open to the empty cabinet. Now, if you look to your right, though, this statue of Charles I only came to Reese's head in history, in the English history, and British history. That's a really important area of London because that's the section of the not a really nice now, we're going down one of the section of British power and authority, and look, there's no protest, just how wonderful. Every single day, so this is the very important area because you have 10 Downing Street coming up on the right-hand side, your 4 Stars Parade, with the Ministry of Defense for which on the left-hand side, because of the high school, because 60% of the we actually have a secret tunnel network that connects the Ministry of Defense, Parliament, Buckingham Palace, and Downing Street. Not that big, at least I know about it. But we have, coming up on your right, 4 Stars Parade. See these rather large sheds here? Generally, there are horses that carry soldiers on their back. I once wondered these horses are not really friendly. They have to come to every year, they will fight you, they will take you over, they will take you down to those episodes. But they're trying to warn you that they're not going to care if you can fix it, or they're going to every single thing in life, maybe there's something that they have to decide, but there's no really right advice that we can love it. It's a beautiful sight, the military horse, and the horses carrying the horse, it's a very nice sight. Now, the horses and the guards themselves are out here on Christmas Day. They receive gifts. The horses, the regimental horses, like here, they give them a fine to that they want. They'll be given a key and also give themselves a key and also give themselves like a white market. Same thing as a soldier, like a white long horse. Get a present and get out of the thing. Well, we're approaching 10 Downing Street. Look at 10 Downing Street on the right-hand side. All these cars on the right-hand side are part of Motor Gates. So telling that there's a lot of people here tonight. So here are the gates. Then Downing Street is like the dome, the Prime Minister's home. There are more than 6 police officers there. That means the Prime Minister is home. Check the rights of the children. And then we have the Senate House. This is a very important location for the Brit. So this is the National Women's Order. I'd like you to have 50 weeks strong average native speaking stories. And the whole people it keeps the numbers of government on the on board. And the platform is on the world and labor being the Senate House. The independent from Christmas Day, we lost a loved one. And so the country will come and lay a poppy here at the Senate House. Now, my favorite tradition on Remembrance Sunday is Westminster Bridge will get closed down, and hundreds of black cabs will line the sides of the bridge itself. They'll block it off completely, and what they'll do is they'll offer veterans and their families home a free ride home back. So it's nice to see down there. That's one of the proudest ones that I can talk about. Now, on our right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, this is the climax of the two is supposed to love the photographs with character building. This is like a thing that I read a court case last year where the people in there went after their fair share for the change of those men as well for busing in the street. So it's horrible people work there. If you work as a center in the street, those security guards have sometimes got people that they live in the street. Then you have Westminster Abbey to your left, the spiritual heart of the Church of England. Every single day, there's been a crown here since Christmas Day 1066. That's been William the Conqueror had himself crowned king. And the King of Scotland was crowned here after 16 long years. Elizabeth I left her because of no heirs and successors, and the King of Scotland and Mary of There's over 3,200 people buried in the Abbey. The most recent burial are the ashes of Professor Stephen Hawking. They have been interred on top of the coffin of Charles Darwin at his request. The Abbey costs a fortune. It's £35 to go to per person. If you'd like to go in for free, line up there every single day leading up to Christmas at 5:30. We do a service called Evensong, a Christmas Mass, Christmas carols. They let you wander around the Abbey free of charge, so remember that. You then have a statue of Abraham Lincoln. That was a gift to the Americans. That's just what we wanted at Christmas, the statue of American president. So I'm very proud to say that we've commissioned a very special statue of Liz Truss, and we're sending it back in January. And she'll probably be sitting next to Abraham Lincoln in Washington. That's a joke. I thought of that a few days ago. Generally, now we have the Houses of Parliament to your right hand side, and we'll look at them. Aren't they beautiful? And they look at the structures of Parliament building up all because the Parliament of Westminster Hall is considerably older than the rest of Parliament. This is the oldest part. It was built in 1097 and is the oldest oak Hamilton ceiling preserved in Parliament that dates back to 1390s. It's there where the castle laid in 2022. You can build it as long as you're waiting in a line for 17.5 hours on the line stretch from the entire city of Parliament. But look at the structure of Parliament. Beautifully, it was rebuilt in the Victorian times, and it might remind you of your most favorite TV show, The House of the And they say that it designed by the council, they did it redesigned the outside of the buildings are so similar. Now look at Big Ben in all its glory. I think that once I'm telling you this now, none of you will ever see Big Ben. It's impossible to get a photo with Big Ben. Big Ben is the bell inside the tower. What you're looking at is Elizabeth Tower. You can only hear Big Ben and it's to one side. If nothing is done about it, it'll fall over in 5,000 years. So you'll never see it fall. And by year 2,500, you'll be beginning to see the trees of the Tower of Pisa. That's if nothing is done about it. And look at Parliament, and this is one of the best photos of the night, because as we cross Westminster Bridge, the way Parliament reflects off the river, I think is absolutely stunning. I think it's a beautiful building. The second tower there and she changed nursing. She changed surgery. And what she did is she introduced two procedural steps. The first step was your surgeon had to be sober before